Should I go? Okay. This is my 20th summer at OBYG. I started when I was a 4-year-old camper, and then I was a counselor for a really long time, and now I'm in the office. But my mom also went to camp, and my 3 older brothers went to camp, and now my nieces go to camp too. So it's really full circle and awesome to see.
Okay, I was president for 3 years. It was a very wonderful experience for me to be president because I knew how much my daughter loved camp.
So my history with OBYG started, I guess, in the mid to late 70s. So I was born in 71, was a camper starting at 5, all the way through the CIT program.
Well, I had the best time ever as a camper. It was my favorite place to be in the summer. And I was 5. That was my first summer at OBYG.
Yeah. Ralph was here forever.
We were here before Ralph, actually.
Did you know Ralph?
Camp was the most important part of the whole summer growing up out here, and we all went to camp.
Tara was 7 when I bought the house, and she, of course, went into camp.
There was a large part of every summer where I was the only girl in my group, and the girl counselors always went out of their way to make sure I was involved in everything and didn't feel bored.
I don't think that there's a day that goes by that I don't speak to someone that I met at camp.
My best friends in the world are my Fire Island friends. I went to college with some of them. I see them in the winter, and we still spend our summers together, so they are my best friends, my OBYG friends.
My best friends that I still have were friends that I made here at camp 30, 40 years ago.
They became my lifelong friends. I'm still friends with them today.
I met my best friends at OBYG. I still talk to them every day. I spend every weekend with them on the beach, and I spend every weekend with them in the winter now that we all live in New York City. So yeah, I basically owe OBYG a thank you for letting me meet my best friends.
I loved water skiing as a kid, as a camper, I should say. So it was a natural transition to go right into being an instructor.
I did hip hop with Cyclone every afternoon for my elective, and I was in every camp show that I could be in. Sophie, the camp director now, was the director of one of the shows I was in when I was 12.
Trampoline. In the playground, we had a trampoline and a balance beam. And we would jump on the trampoline outside the post office. That was my favorite thing to do.
Well, we used to have this
Yes.
in the bay. In the bay, we used to have it was just this
It's like a floating dock.
a floating dock, and we would play King of the Cats. And I just looked back there, and I could see exactly where it was.
Sailing or wakeboarding. Those were 2 other activities that I loved because we did have wakeboarding back when I was a camper too. Just getting on the big sailboats. Some of our new sailboats are really cool. I think I would love having a sailing counselor take me out on those boats with my friends.
But we did these sporting events. We'd have teams, and we played hockey on the basketball courts. And we were the boys were the Wangs, and we were the Wangettes.
I then became a counselor. Water skiing was a little more popular than it is now, that everybody's advanced to the wakeboarding.
I loved being in the camp shows. I did that every summer, so I did a lot of the performing arts activities at camp.
Loved the camp shows. My daughter was very involved with the shows.
So I became the assistant in drama, and then I became the director of drama, and worked with Tracy Kokelman and Craig Ropestein, and we put on productions.
She wrote them, and she allowed me, which I was very lucky, to be in on the interviewing the kids and finding little parts that they should play, or she would read the script and say, do you have any suggestions? And I always remember the one of the little girl. We put a hat on her, a lady's hat, and she sang, I love to ride the ferry.
It was pure, it was simple, and it was fabulous. Everything that we did there was meaningful, and it was just about getting to know one another, joining community.
I definitely owe that, my confidence and my passion for singing and acting to OBYG, because I I found that here when I got so involved in the performing arts side of camp.
Once I became a staff member after I was a CIT, I really figured out that I loved working with kids, and basically it led me to study education and then eventually to become a teacher. So yeah, really found my calling at OBYG.
Baseball after camp, and all the moms used to go and we used to stand on the fence, and Ralph brought Buddy Harrelson out here. He wasn't even ever in the community before, and we would go with the kids, and then Ralph would tease us and we'd get up to bat, and then at the end of the Buddy Harrelson run, we said to Ralph, would you be interested in being the camp director? And he's like, really? And that was it.
You couldn't help but love Ralph. He was just such a wonderful human being. You knew that he was caring for all the kids in camp. They were all very important to him, whether they were the counselors or the juniors or the little kids. He was wonderful.
And if you had fun, you
won.
won.
I think OBYG is the only camp that I know that has such a vibrant and active waterfront. Every camp has sports, every camp's got arts and crafts and drama and theater, but when you drive by our camp on a Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. and see 6 sailboats, canoes, paddle boards, and kids wakeboarding, I've never seen a camp offer those kind of activities before. So we take advantage of our surroundings, right? We're surrounded by the bay on one side, the ocean on the other, and I think this camp does a great job of taking advantage of both those unique resources.
It's like no other experience here, especially if you grow up and go through the camp.
It feels like a true family. Everybody's so close. All the coworkers hang out all the time. The campers, we're watching them become best friends in front of our eyes, which is so, so cool to see.
Because you're immersed in camp. We never went away to camp because you were separated from your parents, you were separated from your siblings. This is like, you go to camp, but you're in your community, so you see people when you're not at camp. You see people on the weekends. You get to go home. You may stay for lunch. You may go home for lunch. So it's this immersive experience, and you really can't get that in other places. And it's a community.
But OBYG feels more like a home, and I feel like that has to do with why everybody always comes back every summer. And I think that that's something that other summer camps don't have.
We all know the kids, whether you know the families personally or not, but we're all a family.
I mean, Sophie's like my second child. I know the Pollocks from when they're tiny.
And so even if you don't know the family and you see a child that needs help in some way or another, you volunteer. I mean, that's the way it was when I was involved. And I'm sure it's the same way through my daughter's generation as being a camper, a counselor, a director of all, and the producer and writer of all the shows.
My word of the day. There's no way I can beat some of the creative ones that Ralph came up with.
My word of the day is friendship, because I met all my best friends at OBYG.
I think my word of the day has to be friendship. It was the first word of the day we had this summer, 2024, and I think that's what OBYG is all about, making friends and keeping them forever.
Joseph, can you give us a countdown?
3, 2, 1.
Scorcha!
Kind.
Fun. It's a simple 3-letter word, but that's what you're here for. I mean, hearing, as we're doing this interview right now, hope the camera might not pick it up or the microphone, but we hear kids downstairs laughing and having a good time. And that's what it's all about. That's what this is all about.
As I heard that my mom used the word kindness, and that's probably the word that I'd use, kindness and joy.
Don't be afraid to try new things and meet new people.
So everything's out in Fire Island is sort of, it just keeps going. It's like this tight-knit circle, or like I don't want to say a dust bowl that keeps gathering dust, but it's like this beautiful thing that or quilt that keeps getting, more pieces added onto. So I would say that
enjoy the time. enjoy the time. These are some of the best years of your life. Like I said before, some of my best friends are kids and campers that I went to camp with a long time ago. So you have an opportunity to make lifelong friends. You have an opportunity to gain tremendous experience.
Keep them happy, keep them hydrated.
Just be nice and be kind to one another and find joy in everything that you do.
Make every day important. Be happy. Be a helper. Enjoy.